Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Chronicles from the Crypt.
Hello there, I'm Casualty Chris.
And this is Father Malone.
And we are the hosts of Chronicles from the Crypt, a twice-a-month look at the cult horror anthology series known as Tales from the Crypt, that originally aired on HBO from 1989 to 1996. That wasn't a very good Crypt Keeper, was it?
It was serviceable.
Let's see. Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, the laugh is spot on.
The laugh is good, but I'm terrible with him just talking.
Well, let me just say that if this is our podcast, we do 2 episodes on each of our podcasts about Tales from the Crypt, and along the way, we've been doing some bonus episodes covering movies like the Tales from the Crypt from the 70s and Vault of Horror. We're eventually going to get to some of the other later Tales from the Crypt spin-off films, and we're also going to do some television shows like a kids show. Yeah, man. A game show for kids with the Crypt Keeper. Makes sense, right? And
made sense to someone.
There we go.
There were toys and everything.
Absolutely.
I should know. I got one for my birthday. From you.
You did indeed. What?
What?
That's so generous.
And guess what? Your birthday and my birthday on the same day. But I didn't get you a Tales from the Crypt toy because they only had one. So
I snatched it before you could find it.
That's true. You were like, go away. Get out of here. Don't come over here and see what I'm doing. Buying the one Tales from the Crypt toy we just happened to find at a fucking antique mall in Las Vegas. Randomly. Oh, man. But until we talk about the children's show, we're going to be talking about some more episodes from Season 3. Those episodes are Episode 5 and 6, Top Billing and Dead Weight.
Good evening, culture vultures, and welcome to another installment of Mashed to Pieces Theater. Tonight we ask the question, to be or not to be? Or in this case, an actor stuck with an average face, who's so sick and tired of auditioning, he's willing to do almost anything. Did I say almost? I call this sickening saga Top Billing.
Top Billing aired on June 26, 1991. It is based off of, unsurprisingly, not a Tales from the Crypt. It is based off of The Vault of Horror 39. It is directed by Todd Holland, written by Miles Berkowitz. It stars everyone's favorite animated film critic Jon Lovitz, Tron himself, Bruce Boxleitner, and Samwise Gamgee's dad, John Astin. And it follows Jon Lovitz as a fat, frumpy actor, shockingly, Jon Lovitz is playing this character, who can't seem to get a gig until he happens upon a gig for Hamlet on a bulletin board.
A flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of those lost dog call here. Want guitar lessons? Take this tab and give me a call.
So, I think it's okay in parts, but I think ultimately, once you know what the twist is, it's really not great.
Disagree.
Really? Let me guess, you're going to hang the lantern on John Astin's performance?
Okay, first of all, John Astin's performance is spectacular. I know you referred to him as Samwise Gamgee's dad. This is Gomez Addams we're talking about, my man.
Also Samwise Gamgee's dad, sir.
Yes, of course he is. Sure, certainly. Nevertheless,
I know he's Gomez Addams. Come on, I'm not.
Jesus Christ, the once and future Gomez.
He was also in The Frighteners, so there you go.
He was. He's really good in The Frighteners. He's really good in everything, man.
He's really good in this, but unfortunately, as good as he is, does not change the fact that so much of this episode is really, really telegraphed from like the moment.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, again, like the problem is this is one of those episodes that does not benefit from repeat viewings. The first time you see it is the best time you see it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess I don't recall seeing the episode when it first aired. I probably did. But having watched it, look, once they get to about the halfway point of the episode where the phone is constantly ringing and they give us a shot through the keyhole of a man who's completely dead, like, yes, I figured it out that they're in an asylum. However, I did really like the episode. I thought Jon Lovitz put in a really good performance, considering we mainly know him as a wacky sort of SNL utility player. And Bruce Boxleitner's real good. I think all the performances sort of across the board are good. I don't think it was spectacularly directed necessarily. Like, I think he dropped the ball a bunch of times, like where things could have been more interesting. I think it's serviceable at best. However, it was fun, and it was a comedy episode where it seemed to actually work for me. It wasn't the sort of typical comedy episode, like playing it to the hilt like everyone. I mean, John Astin can play it to the hilt because he's John Astin and he knows how to do it, and I think he proves that again here. I do think there are problems with it, like, no question about it. Like, for those of you who haven't seen it, like he said, this is Jon Lovitz. He can't get a role, and so he shows up at this community theater, he thinks, to perform as Hamlet, like hoping to get the role, and he's in constant contention with his former roommate Bruce Boxleitner, who gets every role because he's a good-looking guy. And I think Bruce Boxleitner shows up just to fuck with him, and he, of course, gets the role. Bruce Boxleitner does
because he's a face. He's got the face.
Because he's a face.
Which, yeah, Bruce Boxleitner's a good-looking dude. Like, no one's gonna argue that. But
that's the industry, the good-looking people are getting the roles. Like, no one was going to cast Steve Buscemi in a lead romantic part,
Which is a goddamn shame.
Absolutely. I mean, because when it happens, he's really good in them.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
So the thing is, ultimately, they're just casting the part of Yorick. They just want the guy's skull. So in this case, it actually makes sense that Bruce Boxleitner has the better face for it. But when they find out that it's an asylum and they just want Jon Lovitz's skull, I don't understand why his immediate reaction wouldn't be, "Oh, I killed him. He's over there. The skull is still available."
Right? What the fuck? I'm glad you pointed it out, because I was waiting to drop that one. Like, why don't you want his skull? You were going to kill him anyways?
Right. He's dead. I did the work for you. Now you just got to scrape that skin off.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. That they were going to kill him.
Right. And since he figured out what they were doing, anyone's natural reaction would have been, "Over here. Look, here it is. Take it. Goodbye."
No, but instead they sleeve his skull from his skin.
Yes, that's a little bit much too. Like,
you didn't like the shot at the end where the dog picks up the human skin?
I was not that big a fan of his completely untouched face. The basically just like they had pulled a mask off of his skull. That was a bit silly, no question about it. Now, look, as you said, the comic was based on a Vault of Horror 39. It was written by Carl Wessler and penciled and inked by Reed Crandall, who's really good. And the comic is wildly different. It takes place in, like, the 19th century, and it's these three actors who are, like, wandering together from village to village trying to find work, and they stumble upon this theater door, and basically, it's kind of the same plot in that it's an asylum, as it turns out, and they're casting Yorick, but one character can't get the work. The other two are always getting the jobs. He kills the first one, and then the other guy gets the job. He kills that guy, and then it turns out he's, in for the murdering. But what he does in the comic, and I can't believe the people who adapted it, was it Miles Berkowitz? Didn't seize on this, because it would have solved the problem immediately, is that he used a lead pipe to crush the skulls of those guys. And had he just done that, then I wouldn't have any real argument other than they shouldn't show his mask face at the very end. Because that was my main problem with the episode. I thought it was fun, ultimately.
Well, and so that's the thing about this episode that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, is the way that they have him kill Bruce Boxleitner is just so they can be like, it was like at the beginning of the episode. Remember when he was trying to strangle Sandra Bernhard? Like, yeah, we do. Okay, we get it. Like, cool. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There is it's such a glaring plot hole that it is impossible to overlook it. It just is.
It is. I agree. And
we're not, I mean, we nitpick, but this is not even a nitpick. This is just if you watch this episode and you see what the twist is, at the end you'll just be like, why didn't they just take the dead guy's skull?
Yeah,
right? It's not ultimately. It's not a nitpick. It's really not.
No, it is. It is. It's a significant plot point, but at the same time, like, I think this episode is a lot of fun. And, I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. John Astin is spectacular in this episode.
No, he's the best part of the episode, without a doubt.
I love when they like come to my office and it's like it's basically just a janitorial closet and they're all sort of packed in together, like talking. I don't know. That tickled me.
He's the best part of the episode. I like the music as well, but I believe the music was a recycle. I think it sounded familiar to another episode of the show. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But
it might have been the same composer.
Right. I mean, Tales from the Crypt, we're getting to the point where I think we're maybe like 7 or 8 episodes removed from like really the halfway point of the show. And I mean, even if you are a fan of the show, you do know that there is going to get to a point where there are going to be a lot of episodes that aren't good and recycle a lot of things. And yeah. We're not there just yet, but I'm pretty sure this music was also recycled again. That's more of a nitpick than anything else. But the music is good, so I don't care if it was recycled. But exactly. It's an okay episode. It's one of those episodes where when you hear what the twist is and you've seen the episode once, the twist just isn't as good the second time.
Right, but,
But again,
I don't know.
John Astin's performance is great. That is the big takeaway for me, as far as I'm concerned, is John Astin's great.
Yeah, absolutely. But, at the same time, I think, Jon Lovitz is effectively playing the straight guy here, and I think he did a really good job as well. Even Sandra Bernhard at the beginning is pretty good. For her, like, one scene. They said Louise Fletcher is in this fucking episode. Academy Award winner Louise Fletcher shows up for one scene, unbidden and very odd, but not unwelcome.
Yeah, it's let me put it this way: compared to the next episode we're going to talk about, this is a fucking masterpiece. Like, yeah,
I mean, that's always the tightrope we're walking here. Like, are we reviewing the episode on its own terms or in comparison to the ones that have come before and after?
It's a little bit of both. It has to.
Yeah, a little bit of both. In this case, I don't know. I had a good time for half an hour, and it sort of hit on everything I like about a good Tales from the Crypt episode. It didn't call out for more gore, so I wasn't really expecting that. And as far as the, look, man, we've talked about this a million times, but like my favorite episodes of Tales from the Crypt are the supernatural ones. This is actually closer to a shock suspense story than anything. However, as far as a straight, no supernatural takeaway, like I think it's solid. Like I enjoyed these characters, and it is a horrifying situation there at the end.
Well, and the other thing about it is, like you said, it's not a supernatural episode, and the supernatural episodes, I feel like there are less of them than I remembered.
There are way less,
right? Which is a bummer, because you have an undead, you have a corpse talking at the beginning of the show, like.
Absolutely.
Inherently, it lends itself to a supernatural aspect. And I don't remember there being this few, right? Like, it's honest, it's genuinely surprising.
Yeah, I mean, when if I think back, and I just think of what Tales from the Crypt is, like, most of the images in my mind are, like, monsters and undead and such. Like, I'm, not so much love triangles and people being strangled. So...
But then when I think about my favorite episodes of the show, they aren't the monster ones.
Yeah, that's slowly what I'm figuring out, and right? I wonder. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's just sort of in general in the entertainment industry. Horror always sells, so everyone feels like, well, we can always do a horror movie and make some money, or you can always do a horror whatever, because there's always a built-in audience for it. It's like romance novels; like they're not great, but someone's going to read them. You know what I mean? So it feels like a lot of this is people coming to the show because it gives them an opportunity to work, but they don't necessarily love the genre. So I think most people kind of tended to lean into the episodes that were less supernatural. And the ones that we do get that are supernatural, they kind of feel like, I don't know, they always tend to not give us the goods. It's always some, and it's a voodoo curse. It's a love potion. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't seem like
supernatural light.
Yeah, they're not really invested in that kind of level of the supernatural thing that we as fans are looking for, and we are more critical of because when it works like gangbusters. And when people are just doing lip service because they want to get a guy walking around as an undead, like, they just kind of throw it in there. So, yeah, I mean, it is a bit shocking how few Supernatural episodes are available to us on Tales from the Crypt, but...
a show whose narrator is an undead corpse who talks.
Yeah.
And makes what is effectively like supernatural puns.
Yeah, exactly. Now, having said that, like, as far as the straight episodes go, like, this one I enjoyed. I think it's worthy. Ultimately, I'm going to say watch this one. It's not insulting. Like, whatever problems there are, it didn't feel like I wanted to throw my television out the window, which a lot of these episodes recently have been doing.
I'll say this much. If we're talking about in between two episodes, if you're going to watch a comedy episode, just watch Abracadaver, because it is a comedy episode that I think works better than this one, but this episode works better than the next one.
Yeah, I would watch Abracadaver and this one. I think
it's a soft. How's this? It's a soft watch, a very soft watch. Yeah,
I'll take that. But for me, it's a solid watch. I would recommend this episode to somebody.
So let's move on to the next episode, which I know we're both dying to talk about.
Oh my god, I'm so excited!
Yeah, Deadweight.
Welcome aboard, Frightseers. Looking for a little holiday fun? You've come to the right place. We specialize in all sorts of package tours. So what'll it be? A few days in a scream park? Or would you like me to book you into a nice quiet dead and breakfast? Or perhaps you'd like to go treasure haunting like my friend Red. He wants to steal a priceless black pearl in a tasteless tidbit I call Deadweight.
Episode aired July 3rd, 1991. It is based off of Vault of Horror number 23. It's directed by Tobe Hooper, written by Gilbert Adler. It stars Whoopi Goldberg, John Rhys Davies, Vanity, and James Remar, and it focuses on... Look, this episode's plot is so convoluted. Honestly, it's a big pain in the ass to try to explain it, but James Remar is a con man who's trying to steal John Rhys Davies' black pearl, and things happen on the island that he could not have foreseen, and it's okay. This is one of the worst episodes we've watched, without a doubt, right? Like, no questions asked.
I don't know that it's the worst.
No, not the worst.
No. Look, man, I'm not recommending this one. I think it is very bad.
I'm not saying it is the worst. I'm saying it is just one of the worst.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would not put this on any 10 best list. Certainly, this is. Yeah. Look here. A spoiler alert for the end of this particular podcast. Don't watch this one.
Yeah.
But.
The payoff is so stupid, it doesn't even make any sense.
The plot of it, as you said, it's, James, look, clearly this is Haiti again, because every supernatural thing has to be on Haiti, and it has to have a voodoo subplot.
What is
James
this show's
Remar
obsession with voodoo?
Yeah, man, and again, why does voodoo have to take place in Haiti? Like, you can do it anywhere, anyway.
Well, it's honestly, I mean, we talked about this before when Mike White was on here with us. It's also, like, kind of, it hasn't aged well, right? Like, oh, look, the voodoo. Oh, the black people know the voodoo, and that's it. Like, oh, god damn, that's not great. Like, that's real bad. Like, and I know that this is based off of pulp horror, but, like, ugh, like, it's not...
Oh, dude, speaking to that, if you ever happen to read the original comic, holy shit. As you said, it's based on a Vault of Horror number 23, written by Al Feldstein and drawn by Jack Davis. It is rather deplorable. There is no love subplot in the original comic. It is just this con man who has wormed his way into this guy's plantation as a worker because he's got designs on getting this guy's black pearl. In the comic, he's been like biding his time for a few years to get it. Meanwhile, a oh my God, it's just so bad, man. It's like this black servant shows up, and it's a lot of yes, miss, oh,
yes, massa, no massa, no bacon on the salad.
It's yeah, man, and the dialogue is so cringeworthy. And so as he's been biding his time to get the Black Pearl, this voodoo priestess or priest in the comic, who is drawn spectacularly racist, has been biding his time waiting to take this guy's head because it's red hair is prized in their culture somehow. I don't know.
Wow, did they make that a point in the episode over and over and over and over and over and over 5 minutes later and over again? Because that's almost all Whoopi Goldberg even said in this episode.
Yeah, pretty much. So, the plot is effectively similar, but then they throw in some sort of Sam Spade, Maltese Falcon, like, I met this girl and we're going to run away together, but oh no, she doesn't care about me. She just wants the Black Pearl herself. And speaking to that, like, not aging well sort of racism, like, it was not enough for when he finally has sex with Vanity. Vanity is the sort of femme fatale in this character, in this episode. Like, where he knocks over the Black Queen with the White King. He actually says the line, "White King takes Black Queen." I was like, oh my God in heaven.
Racism is alive and well in Tales from the Crypt.
Wow.
Look, again, I am not a social justice warrior. I am not someone who is easily triggered. And frankly, if you want me to be honest, the racism in this episode doesn't really bother me. It's just in poor taste. It has not aged well.
Look, it's not coming from a mean-spirited place.
No,
it is just sort of...
It's tone...
it's the leftover sort of cultural detritus, where people haven't figured out that is a racist thing you're doing. They just think they're playing into the old horror movie tropes of Haiti and voodooism and whatever, but like... and maybe, around 1990, like, look, Spike Lee made Jungle Fever. Like, the idea of an interracial romance, like, was still not necessarily shocking an idea at the time, but it was certainly not as prevalent as it could be, like, here in 2019. So, I can't really just... Yeah. I mean, I can't point a finger at it and go, like, this is inherently a racist thought.
No.
It just feels odd watching it again.
It's and look, if the episode were better, we probably would not really be bringing it up. But because the episode is such a muddled, like, plot-wise mess, and there aren't really any performances to write home about, it sticks out. And honestly, again, like I've said before, holy shit, the shit with, like we've been saying, the shit with Haiti and voodoo, like, you guys need to get off of this, because it has been like 3-4 episodes now where, I mean, we had the one where Mike White was with us, where it's the, the undead head at the end. I don't remember. Do you remember the name of that one? The name of that one is escaping me at the moment.
Something voodoo.
Something voodoo. It's about as good a name as any.
Voodoo, hoodoo, sudo.
Voodoo, you voodoo bitch.
Yeah.
And then there was another voodoo episode. So it's like the third one. And then in the fucking movie, in the second movie we watched, for the second bonus episode we did, it had a voodoo.
It did, yeah.
With Tom Baker.
Yeah.
And it was that same, like, we in Jamaica, or, Haiti, or somewhere in the Caribbean. Because, sometimes it's not even Haiti, it's just somewhere in the Caribbean.
It's just some unnamed island where the dark arts are still practiced.
Yeah. And it's like, goddamn, guys. Like, you could do something supernatural elsewhere. Like, you could have done this episode in Africa. You could have done this episode in Africa or Eastern Europe or anywhere.
Literally anywhere. And like, every culture has a subset of some sort of supernatural dark art. Like, why we keep going to Haiti, I have no idea.
And the bonkers thing is there is a whole subplot about, like, the worms that you can get infected by that goes nowhere.
Yeah, what the fuck was that, man?
I don't know. I genuinely have no fucking clue what the hell the point of that shit was. Like,
I'll say that was particularly gross.
Tell me, please. Yeah, I mean, this episode, if you're looking for gore, this episode has it I was going to say in spades, but that's racist.
It's pretty stomach churning. So, like, kudos for you, Tales from the Crypt, in that area. However, I don't know why it was there or what it was trying to say. Like, John Rhys Davies' character, the plantation owner, has, like, some sort of worms living in him that are burrowing through his body and slowly killing him, and you can see them through his skin. And then eventually they have to cut him open to get the Black Pearl, and, like, all the worms are in there. It's just like, what? I mean, I was expecting something like James Remar gets it, like it takes over him, or it just made no sense.
Well, and the other thing is when it's talking about what these worms are, they end up just being maggots.
Yeah, ultimately.
Right? Like, it's not even anything cool or like an actual special effect. It's like they put this like CPR dummy down in front of James Remar, like, just cut into this. There are going to be some maggots in there.
How about that mechanical chicken?
Oh my God, dude. This episode has gore and practical effects, and honest to God, that's all it has going for it.
Yeah, man. The mechanical chicken is my favorite.
Where he like turns over in the bed and there's just like that might have been a mechanical
Yeah, it's like
chicken,
it's like flapping, like she had just placed it in there.
Was it a temporary chicken though?
It was.
It was. You're welcome. And again, I think the big takeaway from this episode is I don't understand what they were going for, and it's a goddamn shame that this is directed by Tobe Hooper.
Yeah, you know, what can you do? Look, he directed worse things than this. Like, at least it's a bit stylish looking. It didn't feel set bound to me. Like it felt like a little movie. It just was so muddle headed and all over the place. I mean, I like about halfway through the episode, I was like, what is this about?
Yeah, no, that's my point. Like, it is such a weird narrative that I don't understand what the point of the episode was. If it's just James Remar getting this pearl, okay, but there's so much more to it that goes nowhere.
Yeah,
and
let me
ultimately goes nowhere. Period. Like, the episode ends up not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's real bad. Let me just say something good. John Rhys Davies, I think, is really good in it. I think the as brief as their relationship is, like, there's like one scene between him and James Remar where he seems to be showing genuine affection for James Remar, like he would actually be friends with him. And for that moment, I thought, well, that's an interesting sort of concept that these guys would actually be friends, and then he was going to betray him for the pearl. Like, I think that could have been a better episode had it just been that. There were a lot of little things, little plot threads where they could have gone in that direction and made a better episode, but they decided that they were going to follow all of the threads to ultimately nowhere. And speaking of bad, by the way,
how about the twist at the end?
Oh, was there a twist?
Well,
I don't know.
Whoopi Goldberg goes, "Your head is very beautiful," and cuts James Remar's head off with Shetty.
Yeah, because comeuppance, right? Tales from the Crypt, gotta have it.
even
Vanity
if it is
a
really bad.
terrible, terrible act.
Oh yeah, well,
Like, every line out of her mouth. And by the way, does she only own one outfit? Because she was wearing it in every scene.
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Or she just has.
I mean,
one
maybe
island
she's like
outfit.
Einstein and she has 7 of the same outfit, but I doubt that. I think
just
they
has
just
one
didn't bother to
island
give her anything
out-
more than one.
She has one island outfit, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Because it is the
I mean,
island.
you go with what works, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that this is, like I said, for me, this is one of the worst episodes that I've seen of the show, which is a stunning distinction to have because we have seen some really bad love triangle episodes, but this episode's really, really bad.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
And the more we talk about it, the more I hate it. So
This is a skip 100%, 110% from me.
yeah, this is a hard skip. Don't watch this episode. This is not in any way a fair representation of what this show can be. This is
Or a fair representation of anyone who's involves abilities as actors or actresses.
actors or director, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it's
Because we know
real
James
bad.
Remar is a good actor.
Hell yeah, he is. I love James Remar. Ajax forever. So I don't know. I had high hopes, and I thought it might be going in a good direction. I thought it started out pretty strong, but once the multitude of plots kick into effect, you're just kind of confused, and then it kind of meanders more, and then it ends, and you're like, well, that was certainly an episode.
It peters out inconsequentially and ends up not mattering at all. But
Yeah,
there's one thing I do want to talk about, and this is something we have not really talked about because we kind of just gloss over him. This is one of the few times we have a celebrity interacting with the Crypt Keeper in a post-episode segment.
Ah, yes.
Great.
What'd you think?
It was okay. I think it was
Yeah.
actually better than the episode in a whole.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think anything could save this goddamn thing.
I mean, Whoopi Goldberg was a pretty big deal in the 90s. She won an Oscar for Ghost, so...
Oh, yeah. Look, she was really huge at that moment in time.
I see why she was cast in the episode for sure, but
yeah, I mean,
she doesn't really bring anything to the episode because the episode is so bad on its own, you know.
Yeah, I mean, just too many characters, too many plots, no real point of view at all.
I would say too many characters, too many subplots, not enough actual plot.
Like, yeah, I mean,
whatever
I was aching
is,
for one.
It was just real dumb. So it's a skip.
Given the star wattage on screen and how good these people can be, minus vanity, I think it's criminal that it wasn't a better episode.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. So, on the next episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we're going to be talking about 2 more episodes in Season 3. Episode 7 and 8, The Reluctant Vampire, and Ease'll Kill Ya.
Ease'll Kill Ya, okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, I don't remember... Okay, no, I do remember both of them, because Ease'll Kill Ya is similar to the Tom Baker thing, right?
Yes. It's close. Not the same, but yes, It's a little more interesting. No, I don't know. I have to rewatch it. I remember liking it at the time, but then I was young and stupid, so who knows?
And Reluctant Vampire has Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, it sure does. It's another wonderful comedy episode from the makers of Tales from the Crypt, known specifically as a comedic endeavor.
Yes, clearly. Not a supernatural endeavor with a ghost host with the most. It is a show about ha-ha laughs. Everybody, let's laugh along.
Yuck.
Yuck it up, my guys.
Boing.
Oh, God. So until then, where can people find you, Father Malone?
As always, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Ot5 Films. I do a show called You've Never Seen about movies and such. You can also hear me over on another podcast called Dreams for Sale, The Twilight Zone 85, where you and me and Mike White discuss the first and best revival of The Twilight Zone back in 1985.
I don't know, that one with the Korn theme song is pretty good.
Oh my God, so good. I know.
The best. Hey, isn't it weird that Tales from the Crypt has never had a revival? Yeah, let's keep it that way. Moving on.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, right. You can find me on Twitter at Papa_Stash. You can find this podcast over at ChroniclesFTC.com and on Twitter at ChroniclesFTC. Big thanks, as always, to John Kassir for his little ditty at the beginning, and we will catch you on the next episode.